Hi, third grade. Today in grammar, we are going to learn about when we use commas. Now, you may have learned in the past some simple ways to use commas, and we're going to add to that list today. Let's go ahead and begin. Today, we're going to focus on rule number 1, that you use commas in dates, locations, and addresses. We're going to do a couple of examples using dates, location, and addresses and how those commas look. So in a date, we can talk about today's date and write it out using correct commas. Today is October 12th. After the number, we put a comma and we can put the date, 2020. I'm actually going to add the day of the week too. So let's try this one more time. And it is Monday, comma, October 12th, comma, 2020. The two places we add commas are between the words, the day of the week and the month, and we put a comma between the numbers. That's an easy way to remember when we are putting commas in dates. There's a comma between the word and a comma between the number. So that is for dates. Now let's look at locations. If we are trying to describe a city and a state, we put a comma between a city and the state. Where we live in Lafayette, comma, Indiana, you would put a comma between the city and the state. So we have our city right here, comma, and then our state. Finally, we use commas in addresses. Now, when we are writing an address, we normally have the street name, so maybe live on 1210 let's say State Street. And then we can hit on the next space. We can write the state. So maybe this is in Indianapolis, comma, Indiana. So we use commas in dates, locations, and addresses. We're going to practice those today. We're going to do the odds together and you will do the evens on your own. Make sure you're following along with me. If you need to split your screen with ClassKick right now, go ahead and do that. You can pause the video if you need to. All right, number 1. Martha lives in Kansas City, Missouri. We put a comma between the city and the state. The city is Kansas City and the state is Missouri, so we'll put a comma in between there. And we can type out Martha lives in Kansas City, comma, space, Missouri, period. Number 1, the 6th graders' science camp is scheduled for October 12th, 2015. Now remember, when we are writing dates, there are commas between the words and a comma between the numbers. So there needs to be a comma between 12 and 2015. And we can rewrite that. The 6th graders' science camp is scheduled on, let me make this a little smaller, capital O, because it is a month. October 12, comma, 2015, period. If you ever need to pause the video and catch up, you may pause the video. Number 5. The library in my town is located at 325 Bella Street, Seattle, Washington. Now, since this is written in one sentence, we're going to put a comma between each part. So we have our street name, comma, our city, comma, and then our state. So there's going to be a comma between the street and the state. Let's go ahead and rewrite that out. The library in my town is located at 325 Bella Street, comma, space. When you're typing, you need to have a comma and then a space. Seattle, comma, space, Washington. Remember, if you need to pause the video, you may. And our last one we are doing together, and it looks like I need to fill in that last part. It is another date. George Washington became the first president of the United States of America, April 30th, 1798. So when we're writing a date, the comma goes in between the numbers and if we had the day of the week and the month. So a comma between 30 and the year. I'm going to rewrite that. George Washington became the first president of the United States of America on April 30th, comma, space, 1798, period. Your assignment is to make sure that you have everything written down that I have written down and then complete the evens 2, 4, and 6.